venue itself stay afloat by donating. There's a staff GoFundMe. You can support Wonderville with friends, and there's also even just a PayPal link. I am going to paste that in the text channel. If you do any of those things, you're a lovely and upstanding human. Okay, so tonight we have Andrew Thomas, that's the person in the video right there, showing Roll Control. After that, we've got Swords at Dusk by Oliver Hong. Then we're going to have Attack Angle by Dexter, which is actually shown IRL to playtest night. Oh, so is Roll Control. After that, we'll have Sizzle Fricks and the Seven Shards by Carson. Then Steve is going to show us an untitled tower defense game. And finally, Jaden from Mind Isle Games is going to close things out with Lost Llama, and we'll get to playing. So I feel like I've been pretty good there, condensing that to 5 minutes. Without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Andrew.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I feel like I recognize a bunch of people here, which is awesome. Hello, 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 hello. Let me try to share my screen and hope that this works. Weird that it's calling the wrong thing, but that's fine with me. Okay, cool. So, actually, I'll just back on out. Yeah, whatever. That's the same thing. So, I want to show you Roll Control today. This game is almost complete. I am aiming to release it next week. Once it's done. So this is a like nearly done version where I've just been squashing bugs, but waiting for some awesome new music to be added and a few other little things I need to do, and then it'll be up on Steam and itch.io. So yeah, to show you how this works, Roll Control, the idea behind Roll Control is that you can play normally with like your keyboard or a gamepad, but I've also from the beginning been designing this so that people can play with their an iPhone or I guess any mobile device and put it onto a balance board, and then you control it with your body. So the whole idea behind control is that this is meant to be played physically with your body. And so I don't know. I covered up the whole screen, so I can't really see anything anymore. But this is the app that's controlling the ball right now. I'm holding it out.
You're precariously close to that pit.
Good news is nothing. I can't fall in this level. Yeah. So and I will. I don't know if you'll be able to see me actually standing on the board, so I'm just going to play with my hands for now, because that will get a little awkward. But the game is launching with a small world that players can explore and go into new levels. So I want to show you what a level looks like. Just kind of rolling around in this isometric world. And then flying through this place. So it's a simple kind of like Marble Madness, Super Monkey Ball inspired marble platformer, and that worked out. I don't know why player 2 has a score. That's kind of odd. Yeah, and so you can go through this world, opening up the path to each next level. And play through it in single player mode. And then I guess the other cool things to show is that my plan is to release this with a bunch of pre-made levels, but players also have access to the level editor that was used to design and make all of those space courses. And so anyone can come in and really easily make their own level. And so you just have to add some ground, uh, add in some portals. So there's a start portal and an end portal. Actually, I'll make this longer. Kind of like a typical painting program. We've sort of built this off of 3D modeling software. And that looks cool. Go back and I'll add in the end. That's fun, and I can add coins, and then maybe an enemy here. There's crabs and snails of all sorts. Save it, and then you can save it either to your clipboard and just have it be a string of text, or you can save it to your computer, and then you can also load from your clipboard, like your copy paste, or from a file that's on your computer in order to load your own, or if you want to share it with other people, you can share all of your levels that way. And so this is a new level that I just made.
How does it work with the balance board? Does it does the phone just kind of tilt when you step on it, or how does that work?
Yeah, here, I can actually, let me grab a balance board. So, can you see this?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a Bosu ball. And it's just like a big inflatable thing. I just dropped my phone. I am attaching it right now with Velcro to make this just easy to add on and remove. And then
That makes a lot more sense. When you said balance board, I thought you meant the Wii balance board, and you were connecting it through Bluetooth or something. That's a lot better and simpler than what I had in mind. That makes a lot more sense. That's really
yeah. So yeah, like the idea is that here I'll try it. People can physically engage with this. See, no hands. I have no idea what I look like right now. And try to get some exercise, get some activity in, and start playing. I guess one thing that's interesting and that I'd love to hear feedback on is I changed my release plan for this because of COVID. Because I was planning to support it a lot through in-person events, to give people a chance to physically show it, and so I'm trying to figure out what the best way to distribute it and help people understand how they can use their own balance board that they have at home, to try it out. And that's kind of been the challenge lately, is just making something that used to, I mean, the way it connects right now is really simple, but trying to make that user experience a lot better and help people understand what balance board they can play with, how to attach it, how to do all those things when it's that element of this game is still a little bit early.
Cool. I mean, we have a few minutes left if people in the audience have thoughts there.
Yeah, I got a question. Is it possible to use a Wii Fit board, to maybe hack it to use it with this game or something?
I don't know. I haven't hacked a Wii Fit board yet, so I'm not sure. My next goal for this is to just work with an accelerometer and Arduino and do the hardware from scratch. Put that together that way, and so I want to learn that stuff. I feel like this is the right group to talk about those things. But yeah, right now I've been focused on making this something that I can start sharing, because I guess my goal is to get it out into the world and see if people are interested in like using it and building content and seeing what comes out of that.
Cool, thank you.
That definitely. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I said that definitely sounds like the way to do it with custom stuff. The phone is a really neat idea though, because I feel like people who don't have or who like try to attach it, but if it falls off or whatever, can still play with their phone and still have fun. Because I think that's a really cool way to do it anyway. But with an accelerometer and stuff, that'd be really cool as like a permanent thing at Wonderville that I could totally see just being such a Wonderville thing as a game that you play on a balance ball. But for distribution and stuff, I think just having it on a phone and then like letting people kind of figure out what they have that they could play it with is fine. Because like I don't know if everybody will have something that works with it or whatever, but being able to still tilt the phone and get that general sort of idea is definitely really cool.
Yeah, and I guess the other like strategic reason why I wanted to release it in this order of events was that I'm interested in exploring like therapeutic uses for this game, and so it felt like it would be easier to show that and talk to people if I can say it's like already available. You can test it out and put it together on your own rather than like needing to always come to me in order to demo something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, while I'm pursuing that, I do want to be exploring like the actual hardware side of it, but yeah, it made it easier to just share it. I hope, or it'll be really annoying
Cool.
and people will get confused. I don't know.
Yeah, I can say we did do a project for DBAA where we did hack a Wii balance board and got it running through Unity on a Bluetooth connection, and I would highly recommend custom hardware.
Yeah, speaking of custom hardware, I was wondering if you had any ambitions to try trackball, because I heard that they're a nightmare to work with. But
I
fun.
don't want to try a trackball. I like
Really?
accelerometers. Like they're so simple, and I feel like I kind of understand it, and so I don't want to say I'm afraid, but like yeah, like it's like they're just ones and negative ones, and so it's really easy to like think about that now.
Totally.
So I think for something else I might look at a trackball, but yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna have to move on, but yeah, I played this one. It's super fun. It's looking great, by the way. And
Thank
Dustin really selling the whole trackball idea by saying it's possible.
Just doing what I can.
All right. So next up, we're going to be checking out our Oliver Hong is going to be showing us Swords at Dusk.
Hey everyone. Let me just get things rolling here. I think I have everything set up right. Give me one quick second.
And also, I've decided to show my face now that Discord lets me do it.
Oh, wait. I'm in my
Well,
PJs. You all aren't gonna see that. All right. Let's see. So, okay, just let me know if you all see stuff.
Yep, I see it. For folks who are new at this, you will have to click the stream by Darkness Your Old Friend to like stop the stream you're watching.
Yeah. Okay, we're good?
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, cool. So I'm Oliver, and like it was introduced, the name of my game is Swords at Dusk. It is a social deduction game for I'd say 4 to 8 players at this point. Playtest. You never know if that'll change, but you get the idea. The story behind this game is that you are all a bunch of high-class, rich socialites in a remote manor, and you're all trapped there with someone who's trying to kill you all. It's up to you all, the socialites, to figure out who the killer is before they kill everyone in the manor. Unfortunately, in polite society, nobody really agrees with one another. Everyone's rich and kind of up their own ass. So the only way they can really deal with disagreements is by dueling each other. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all the rules in the time I have. So I'm just going to do a quick overview and then show you the thing that I've been working on that I really want to see tested and kind of the challenges I foresee testing. So real quick, it's just like Werewolf in a sense that everyone has a secret role. The only two you really need to know at the moment are the socialites and the killers. The socialites are your average, like, innocent, they don't know anything, they don't do anything special people. While the killer, on the other hand, is the one slowly killing everyone. Unlike Werewolf, this game, you don't die right away if the killer chooses you to die. What the killer does is deal out these little wounds. If you get 4 of these, you're dead. So just to kind of summarize what happens during a round of play, everyone closes their eyes. The killer opens their eyes. They deal 2 wounds to 2 different guests, like so. Apologies. I went a bit ahead of myself. There's also, like Werewolf, there's a moderator for this game, someone who's kind of tracking the game state. So the moderator will then say, okay, everyone open your eyes. We'll see who got wounded, and then we get to the part where I want to test things out. So, the biggest thing that I've had a problem with running this game is kind of the way conversations go, because there's not much to talk about and not a lot of knowledge on the board, and you know, with social deduction games, that's kind of the point. But how do you make having a lack of knowledge fun, or at least how to make that conversation interesting? One thing that I introduced in this version of the game is a currency. These little sugar cube things, they represent influence. Basically, rich people have all the money in the world, so what's the thing that they respect the most? Well, each other, hopefully. So you want to get the most influence as possible, because if you have the most influence and the killer dies, you're the one who actually wins the game. It's cooperation slash competitive. But then I came into the problem of like, okay, well, everyone has this influence that they need to move around. How am I going to move around this influence? So, and also make a conversation like interesting or at least challenging to do for your average social deduction game. So this is why I'm going to introduce this one, and then I'll see if I can get to the privilege. But so I introduced the etiquette deck. The etiquette deck is a currently 34 cards that have different rules on how to compose yourself as someone in polite society. So if you've ever played like the game Kings, like the drinking game, like there's often rules based on just cards you draw. So I decided to take a cue off of that to kind of give a way to for people to move these little things around. So basically, etiquette. All right. So if you just tilt your head 90 degrees, you can read the etiquette card. Wait, I could change that real quick. 1 second. Okay, I can't change it. Anyway, so basically, etiquette cards basically have either a rule or a ban on what you can talk about or how you can talk about it. So right now I have like very simple rules. Like whenever someone talks, they must point at another player. Whether or not that player is involved or anything like that, they have to point, because if they don't, and the person who's running the game sees them do that, they have to put an influence. They basically pay an influence as a penalty. And there's cards in here that, so like, oh, this one is very simple. Guests cannot talk over other guests. So it's like, you know, you're just being polite. Some of them are more mechanical, which I'm a little concerned about, but in the sense that people don't really want to track a game and also have a conversation at the same time. So I'd be really interested in seeing what happens in that. And like, so I've made 32 of these cards, and I made them pre-quarantine-ish, which also kind of introduces another challenge I have. Would this work in a digital playtest? Because some of these cards are like you have to have both hands on the table at all times, or like other things that you can't that are be meant to be enforced physically rather than like over the internet. So I just want to see both how these cards work in a digital playtest space, but I also want to see if they just work at all. That's kind of like my main focus for this evening, if people are interested. I also would just like to say, I used to have this prototype on a service called Tabletopia that everyone can access, but it's not great. So unfortunately, if you would like to playtest this game, you would need to have Tabletop Simulator, which I'm pretty sure most of us have, but if you don't, I apologize. Yeah. So I can explain more of the rules if you want to help playtest, but basically trying to make a social deduction game conversation more fun by enforcing rules and also having those rules matter in the game. That's the thing that I want to test, and that's the problem that I want to solve.
We have like a minute left if someone has like a question.
I think
Gonna reveal myself. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Great. I have a very general, like, just tip for inspiration for like the social stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you have ever played the Jackbox game, Push the Button, that has some of these like social deduction elements, and it works really well online. So I don't have any like specific things that you can apply, but maybe check that out for inspiration.
Yeah, I would say I'm not really a fan of action games. I would say I don't like them. But listening to your pitch, I like everything makes sense to me, and it's like I really like the concept. The idea of etiquette and how meaningless it is a great inspiration for this kind of game. Um, so I think you're onto something. I think you've got a really good kind of concept here, and it's just going to be down to the details of play, how to make it flow.
Yeah. So we'll get a game of that going once we hit social hour. It looks gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
Really nice. I like the nice carpet we're playing on. Yeah, that looks super cool. Okay. So yeah, if you have Tabletop Simulator, hang out afterwards. We'll get a game of that going. But next up, in terms of just demoing, we have Attack Angle by Dexter. So we'll hop over right there.
Just quick setup.
Yep.
Could you? Oh wait, could you turn your mic down a little bit? I just got a really just nasty S.
Oh, my mic? Wait, how do you do that?
If you go into settings, like user settings, down by your name on the bottom left.
Right.
I think you can also lower other people, like for yourself, if you right click on them. There's like a user volume in the menu.
Cool. Is that alright if you do that? Is that?
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
All right. So yeah, this is actually a game that I brought to Playtest Night a couple times. Can you see the game all right?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So this like current iteration is actually like the result of a couple of Playtest nights and feedback from those. So the game, I guess I'll just jump into the game right away, and I can get into some of like I wanted to like share some of the changes I made as a result of like the feedback I got from these playtest nights. So it's sort of a Bomberman-esque just multiplayer game. So right now it's just it's for 4 people, or 1 to 4 people. Now I've just joined with every single player on my own keyboard. But the sort of main mechanic that you're using is you have a laser that you can fire. Looks like that. And you have these mirrors that it's gonna reflect the laser. So you sort of have to figure out these different sort of paths to kill your enemies and achieve victory. And when I brought this to Playtest Night, got some really good feedback. So one of the first things I like realized just looking at people play is that there was no real incentive of like taking any risks or like moving around the map. So what I did to sort of address that was to add power-ups. So you had like, the Bomberman style thing where you have a bunch of different power-ups, different like weapons that you can use. So I had like a bullet that went through walls. I had like a remote turret that was kind of complicated to use. And I also had a shield that would deploy like one of these mirrors, but from the player itself. And then on top of that, I added these like leveling up thingies. That's the little orange dots that you see on the map. So those are going to level up one of your 3 stats that you have next to your little thing in the GUI there, the P1, P2, the speed, reload, and the shot. So that sort of gives you the incentive to actually move around and maybe take risks, put yourself like in one of these paths, sort of making the game a bit more interesting. And then as I kept playtesting it with people, I started realizing that like some of those power-ups that I added weren't really that much fun to play with. Like the thing that goes through walls, that was kind of just fighting against the core mechanic, which is the mirrors. The mirrors is sort of what makes the game fun, in my opinion. So what it came down to is that I kept the boosts, like the stat boost thingies. People thought it was fun. Like you move kind of slow in the beginning, and then when you're at full speed, you move really fast. Your bullet comes back really fast. You can fire fast. You can also your shot goes pretty fast as well. So it's kind of fun to do that, get that like progression in one game. However, one of the power-ups actually was really fun to use, and that was the shield. So it's going to look like this if you use it. So you have an offensive mechanic in the laser, and you have the defensive mechanic in the shield. And that made for a pretty interesting game in the end. So I'm very happy with like the result of the feedback and stuff. I'm gonna just show a game. So if you only join with one of the players, the rest are gonna be bots. Really, really, really dumb bots. But for some reason, it kind of works. They tend to like accidentally shoot the mirrors in like an interesting way. And also another sort of result of the playtest nights is the lack of a menu. So when we had the playtest nights, like people would jump in and out of the game, like had to figure out like a good way of joining. If you've ever played something like Smash Bros, you know how much of a sort of hassle that can be. Just getting everybody in the actual game in a good way, and like the classic, wait, who am I? That sort of thing. So that's why I added this sort of lobby-ish system where you can sort of, you have to take control of your character to be able to even join the game at all. So the idea is that you sort of already know how to play the game before it started. And yeah, the bot just beat me, so maybe they're not. Oh, that's an interesting bug. It just called me the winner, even though I just lost. That's great. I just tested my own game in a good way. Yeah, so this is like the sort of lobby that takes you into the game, and where you end up after the game, any like match is finished. So the idea is that I can hand a person this game, and it should be at least fairly reasonable that they know how to play it right away, and also like which character they are.
Very cool.
Yeah, is that it for the demo? Maybe.
I mean, you have another like 2 minutes or so, but I'm just wondering, are you going to be testing this tonight? I know it's local multiplayer.
Sadly it's local multiplayer only. It's definitely the most requested feature, but the game kind of is like uniquely ill-suited for online multiplayer. I've been researching this subject a lot. And
I'm not suggesting anyone just throw in online multiplayer. No, not at all.
Yeah. The thing is, I would love to have it, but actually some of the game mechanics are hooked into the beat of the music, which I think you can't hear right now, right? So having like music synced over network seems like a full-on nightmare. And on top of that, everything's randomized.
How are the levels made? Are they randomly generated every time or something?
They're created in my map editor, which is just strings in the code. I can actually maybe switch to that. It's sort of interesting, maybe.
That's cool. So it's a different. Sometimes it's a different map every time you play, or?
Yes, and that's also random.
I love the effect when you shoot somebody with the panels going to them is just so cool. I really like that for some reason.
And again, that's actually also right from Playtest Night feedback. Like, where did you even come from? Like, how could you hit me from there? So I decided to just show it as clearly as I could.
And the other thing I was gonna say for the power-ups is I feel like some sort of like Geometry Wars style bomb that's just like a white circle that just encapsulates everything would seem a little ridiculous, but also might be kind of fun to look at in this style. I was working on something kind of LCD-ish like this, and I added like a whenever somebody scored a goal, it was like this crazy particle effect that just covered everything.
That's cool.
Some kind of bomb like that might be pretty cool. Because I like just the way that Geometry Wars does their bombs. I feel like I would want one of those playing this, and just like press a bunch of buttons at the same time and have something explode.
Yeah, so I kind of like I actually took the power-ups out of the game, so I actually only have these like stat boosts right now. Because I wanted to sort of focus on, I found this one really fun mechanic, which is the shield.
Yeah.
And I decided, I mean, I'm not a full-time game developer, so I decided on like having these sort of core mechanics and spending time on polishing those. Because what I had before was these like, I had 5 half-assed power-ups, but now I have one really nice one, and I think that makes for a better game.
Oh yeah, for sure. How can you tell how close the mirrors are to getting destroyed? Because I see them go away every once in a while. How do you like how does their health work?
So I think it's much more obvious if you actually if you can hear the audio, because it's sort of connected to the audio. So okay, I think it's awesome. every 30, it's like every 64th beat, I think the mirrors change, and when they sort of blink like that, that's also in time with the music, and they do that for like 8 beats. It sort of has like this procedurally generated music as you shoot the mirrors. It sort of plays a scale as the laser bounces.
All right, I think we have time for one more question.
Hey man, it looks really awesome. I've played it before in playtest nights, and you can really see the progress. I think not doing the extra power ups is a great idea, and the like these level up dots that you have feel like they do the job of making you move around perfectly. I was curious about how you pick up the shield though, now that it's not a power up.
Yeah, so you just always have it. So I don't know if you
cool.
see the little blue things in every player. So it sort of deploys, and then it pulls back into the player like that.
Gotcha. And what's stopping you from using the shield all the time?
So the cooldown is when it pulls back. So it's only active for like half a second, and then it's pulled back. Takes like a second or two.
Nice.
So I can actually demo really quickly if this bot stops bothering me. So the bullet actually moves faster when you reflect it. So you can get these sort of reflection wars back and forth until it's so fast that you're not going to be able to reflect it before your sort of cooldown is over.
Nice. So you can end up on this sort of ping pong of bullets.
Exactly. So what I'm really hoping for, which I haven't seen yet because I haven't playtested this version that much, I'm a big fan of fighting games. So what I'm hoping for is this sort of mind game, sort of rock, paper, scissors thing where you'll think that the opponent is going to reflect.
Yes.
Or maybe didn't they, or should I reflect? Should I shoot? Should I move away?
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to post a build of it to have people try out the AI, that's also cool. But yeah, it's tricky in quarantine. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
So, yeah, next up we've got Sizzlefrix and the Seven Shards by Karen. Carson.
That's
sorry.
me. No, it's all good. Let me get my screen sharing up here. All right, so I'm going to show the level that we showed at Waffle Games real quick, just for a sort of visual of what we've got going on. This should be green, but I changed the material like everywhere. Whoops. So I showed this last time in a very early state. Since then, we've kind of I've done nothing but work on this. It's a shooter where you have these magic spells instead of guns, and I'm not sure why there aren't any enemies in this scene. That's kind of weird. But this week we're doing weekly builds in our Discord. Basically up until we get a publishing deal or somebody tells us not to. Because we just want to be able to test and figure out what's actually fun. We're trying to figure out what kinds of spaces people like to shoot the bad guys that we made in. So this is a sort of more linear, larger level. I've been playing a lot of like Mario Sunshine and Galaxy and kind of figuring out like how you can go through the same linear level in those 1,000 times and still have it be fun. So we've got these like purple monk enemies, and they come out of the ground and they shoot fireballs at you, and you have to kind of dodge them like in Doom. We have like crit headshots that send people in a ragdoll. That's just really fun. It's a one-hit kill sometimes. And if one spawns, we have knights who have these big axes, and they kind of charge toward you. They fall out of the sky. One will show up eventually. That's the one thing that we're not really worrying about on this build is like where the AI kind of go, and the likelihood of which one spawns. So if I just shoot that guy, and then the spawners have like an amount of enemies that you're supposed to kill before they stop spawning, so that you can move on to the next area, and like we'll really control that with music or something. And the fireballs go away if you click out of the game for some reason. So you can't actually see what I'm shooting right now, but I am actually shooting this guy. And then he swings an axe if you get too close to him. And he hits you, but I have... Hold on. Let me go in here real quick and change something. I have this God mode on that disables damage. We have some pretty cool effects when you get hit with something. So yeah, so our main thing is kind of figuring out what types of spaces it'll be fun to shoot people in. We're like, do we want to have larger sort of sweeping environments that are kind of more Halo-y? Do we want sort of just hallways that feel more like Doom? Like, or do we want these Quakey kind of like labyrinth sort of deals? Like what? I can get this guy to hit me. come here. You can kind of see the effect on that. It's pretty cool. What sorts of spaces are more fun to move around in and to fight in? And we're trying to figure that out. So like for this level, we think that you're going to go across this big area, kind of stopping in these. I'm kind of flying through it, but you're supposed to kind of slow down and fight people sort of one-on-one when you come up to an area where there's a lot of enemies. If I can get up here. And so the idea is that it goes down onto the lava lake, and there's like these sort of platforms that you have to jump on. So the next thing that we're going to do is rig up the hands for animation, so you can grab onto platforms, and they'll sort of make fists when they shoot spells. And we have different types of spells. That's really sort of where we think it's going to start to click for people. I can change what spell I have equipped somewhere. I didn't write that script, so magic. I think this is an ability number, yeah. So if I change this to 1, I should have a different spell. And the idea is that it's kind of like Skyrim, where you have a different spell in each hand. And yeah, so this is a quicker fireball.
You kick me off there because we're on TV now.
What if I change it to like, I don't know what numbers do with this because I haven't messed with it at all. Let's see if this changes anything. Nope, that's weird. What do I change it now? Nothing. Okay. Well, we're gonna have different spells that do different things, and so you should be able to like sort of counter what kind of enemies pop up. It's kind of like how weapon switching works in Doom, except with magic. And we kind of want to have like ice enemies or fire enemies. We're gonna have 7 levels that have these 7 magic shards in the end, and each one gives you a different like major spell. And then there are smaller upgrades and stuff that you can do to make it more interesting. And these are sort of at least the prefabs for the spells that we have. I don't know why it won't let me equip them. But yeah, that's basically where we're at right now with that. Oh, here we go. Elements. Let me see. Oh no, that's different. Size. Where do I change what I have equipped? There's 5 of people working on this, so sometimes it's like people will make changes and I won't know what they changed or how their changes work.
Such a dev mood right there.
Yeah, right? I'm like, hold on, how does this work? You can definitely equip different spells. We don't have the UI worked out for it yet because we kind of want to. We're thinking we're gonna have different icons, one on the left and one on the right in the bottom of the screen where the health bar is right now, and then you're gonna hold Q and scroll your mouse wheel to change your left hand, and E and scroll your mouse wheel to change your right hand. But getting that UI to feel like snappy and good takes a little while. So that's probably for next week's build or a couple weeks from now. But right now we just want to figure out what sorts of levels are fun to move around in. And I'm going for this very like bright sort of cell shaded look. That's why I showed the first level, because this one doesn't. I don't think it really gets it across. Because it's kind of just like a test material with some really bad scrolling lava. But I've spent 40-something hours in Substance, kind of hoping that that's not going to be a thing next week. So. Let me see. Can I really not change that? That sucks. Magic permission. Let me just see. What if I just... Yeah, so that's what we have so far. And we're just kind of looking for feedback on everything, basically. But especially the types of spaces that people like in shooters, and a shooter like this, because we want it to stand out from other shooters in how it looks and sounds. But it should kind of feel like you're playing Halo or something, with a little bit of extra pizzazz, which is magic.
Do you have a story for it yet? Like that would help inform the places, or?
I do, yeah. So the idea is that you go through these 7 worlds collecting these magic shards that have been taken from a hub world. We want to have a hub world, kind of like Mario 64. And the magic shards have been spread across the world and taken away from sort of their safe spot for some reason. We don't know why. A lot of our sort of story beats are based off of the mechanics that we want in the game. And we're like, they're going to link together somehow. We're not quite sure. I've kind of thrown some ideas around with what I want the villain to be like, why they do the things that they do. I decided that because we're basing the 7 spells and worlds off of alchemy, that maybe when you get them all together, they can turn things into gold. Harry Potter already kind of did that. So we're like, we don't really know. We're kind of just making it up as we go and hoping that we find something good. I think that the people on the team, a lot of us play like a lot of Quake and a lot of Doom, and like story's kind of the thing that's not on our minds without everything else, but definitely should be. And we kind of are all out of ideas for that, but definitely need to find something quick.
I mean, like, you are what you're inspired by. Like, if the story doesn't make complete sense. I mean, Doom's story is everywhere.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Like we don't want it to be totally on the back burner. I had the sort of idea where I was like, we could almost make it really Ueda-y and start it with like a 10-minute cutscene and end it with a 10-minute cutscene, and that's it. But I kind of want it to be more woven in. Our idea, we've kind of gone the Bungie route because we're a bunch of high school kids in quarantine, and we've said that if it's not perfect, we're not gonna ship it. And we're like, whatever we come up with has to be really good, but we're just not there yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to get these different spells equipped. I can probably at least change how it looks by doing this.
I'm just curious, like, what do the what do the projectiles do? Do they interact with the environment at all?
They're
Like,
going to. I mean, this is just a really simple level. Yeah. So we have like a test scene with like some crates and stuff that we can shoot, and they explode. We want to do some cool puzzles where there's like a locked door and the lock is made out of fire, and then you shoot water at it. Or maybe we sort of make it Metroidvania-y, where there's like a lock that requires a certain type of spell to get through that you don't have yet. So you have to go complete a different level, get that spell, then backtrack to where it was before, and then unlock a new area.
Yeah.
We've been messing around with the idea of what they do. We've right now, just in terms of sort of like structure, we've been working on the upgrades. We want to be able to upgrade spells and have them like phase through enemies after you kill them, kind of like there's a laser gun in Black Ops that does that in zombies. Where
Yeah.
a bunch of zombies in a trail and shoot, and it'll go through. And we want to have spells that bounce off of walls, and we want to have you be able to. We want to have like a big cauldron that pops up a menu, and you can just throw different upgrades at different spells and figure out things. In this build, if I were able to change them, some of them are slower and some of them are faster, and do different amounts of damage, but that's basically it right now. And I definitely am able to change them somehow. But I keep changing. I type different numbers into this, and it doesn't do anything. Oh, wait, prefab. That's interesting. I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of where that's what it looks like right now.
Cool. Are you gonna post a build in the game links?
I have a build. I built this just before I started playing it, so you can kind of get a feel for how the mechanics are at, and how the mechanics are, and then let us know like if you think that like Halo-y sort of sweeping vistas are cool, or if you think that like it should just be Quake, and the speed and everything. Like we really want to dial in the movement and the shooting before we do anything else, because we think that should be perfect first.
Yeah, I'm psyched to try it out. Awesome. All right, thank you so much for showing it.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, next up we got Steve with Untitled Tower Defense Game.
Okay,
Take it
hello.
away.
See how this goes. All right, stop watching Carson. Okay. So I don't have something to download that's going to make sense in a second, so I figured I'd quickly just show off this old project, which is a sort of visual toy that I showed off at Wonderville once, based on Conway's Game of Life, and you can do lots of like video feedback effects and stuff. And if you like it, too bad, because it's a real pain in the ass to work on, so I ditched it. That said, the actual thing I'm going to show is this gray screen. So I'm working on an idea that's way too big for one person to work on. It's irresponsibly big, and I shouldn't be doing it, but that's the only idea I have. So I have this little tower defense game, and I've been working on this for like 2 days. So when Andy says nothing is too janky, he's the reason I'm showing this.
Hell yeah.
Click on these guys so far. And as you can see, it's sort of looked like an idle tower defense game. And the reason for that is basically I was trying to figure out how to take the big irresponsible idea and bring it down into something I could actually make. Oh, and this is a fun bug where it's just endlessly spawning waves. So, and those all have physics on them, even though they're not being used for anything. So the computer does not like it. What was I going to say? So I'm not good at taking big ideas and turning them into small ideas, but I had a decent shot at it this time. And I thought it would be very interesting to take a tower defense game and mix it up with a sort of a card-based roguelike, where after every wave you have like a couple of upgrade options or cards like to heal or whatever that you're offered, and you have to pick before you see what the next wave is. I don't really like roguelikes that much, so that idea didn't excite me, but I'm curious if that interests other people. The idea that I have been thinking about the most is an idle clicker tower defense combo. So that's why you can obviously click on these guys. And the idea would be that you can just kind of add buildings. And I was actually going to try and keep it all in this like one-dimensional space, and then have the map just kind of scroll. So all of your buildings would be back here, and then like they would just keep existing as the camera scrolled away. Yeah, and so yeah, this is a project that I started 2 days ago, so I don't have more of a pitch than that, but I'm really curious to hear everyone's like kind of first reactions to that.
It being idle is really cool. Like I love like progress quests, but I feel like there wasn't enough for me to look at. Like it was kind of cool to go back and read through it, but I've gotten really bored of idle stuff. But I could totally see me just running this for like a full day, just like trying to see how far I can get it to scroll. The idea of it being idle is super super interesting because it's actually something that like looks interesting, but is also you can just kind of leave it. Like it's got the satisfaction of an idle game, but it's also not as boring as seeing a bunch of numbers go up.
Yeah, I downloaded in researching this. I downloaded a game called Almost a Hero, and that's sort of like an RPG idle game, and it has a lot of interesting sort of choices with upgrading and choosing who's going to be on your crew and stuff. And it has bosses where if you fail a boss, you get knocked back like 5 levels. And it's the first idle game I've seen that has like sort of a semi-fail state. I don't know if anyone else plays idle games here, but when I mention this to somebody else, it's like the idea of a failure state is sort of the antithesis of idle games, and I'm not sure how people will react to that.
I think it makes me want to play it because I feel like if I like start playing like Progress Quest or like I guess Progress Quest your characters can die, but like Cookie Clicker or whatever, like I just get bored of like it just feels so low stakes and stupid that it just doesn't like it's just not entertaining. But like I feel like I could like turn this on and then like leave and go do something else and then like be having dinner somewhere and like be super anxious that my city's burning to the ground. Like I think that that's kind of fun and kind of quirky and I really like it.
I think it's a good burn at the tower defense genre. It's just like it's like because like I could imagine like when you start out that you're just dealing with enemies that are going that slowly as slow as a large one, and then you just kind of simply click them to make them go away, and then over time, idle game style, you just have more and more of an elaborate defense setup until it's just like, well, I think I'm pretty much done. I don't think this place is ever going to get attacked ever again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the end game of most like tower defense games is trying to get to that until you're eventually overrun. But it would be interesting to see this tower defense end state just be, well, this is the most efficient thing I've ever made ever.
Or if it were the opposite, where it were like a roguelike where the enemies keep sort of generating based on what you buy and kind of like being upgraded to fight you. So like I feel like this is just me, but if I built something like that, if I played this for like a week and like didn't turn it off and kept building things and making it more efficient, and then something like destroyed it, I feel like that would kind of be really fun. Like just having people spend absurd amounts of times leaving this on and then having them lose everything and start back from the beginning seems like something like pretty cool. Or having their city get like half destroyed by some new enemy that like was created because you got too good at it. Having it generate based on how good you're doing would be really, really interesting. So that you could just have it endlessly scale. So if you have 1,000 buildings, it has 1,000 hit points. Like just something like ridiculous like that would be really interesting.
A lot of idle games include a thing where you get up to a certain level and then you restart in some way and cash in some special resource for a boost at the beginning, and like there's a bigger metagame. The idea that like tower defense is almost an idle genre in its own right too, but the idea that a failure state of this game could be like your goal is defeated or whatever, then you restart with some new resource and like there's another layer to the game there. Like that could be cool.
Oh, so instead of choosing to prestige, you actually just like do it when you die?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. So not any interest, no interest in the card-based roguelike thing.
I'm interested in a card-based roguelike.
You have one already.
But it does seem like a different game.
I really know anything about, and it's really two very strong votes against, because the stuff that was just mentioned, the feeling of like rushing back to see if your city was destroyed while you left it running, and the feeling of like getting it to a point where you're like, oh, it's stable and it's like impregnable fortress now, like are both the precise feelings that got me started thinking about the bigger version of this. So I feel like I'm really on the right track. So that was actually really exciting for me. So thank you very much for the feedback.
Yeah, it would be devastating in such a fun way to come back and just start scrolling left for like a full minute and just seeing everything that I've built over the course of like a week just be gone. Like that just seems so ridiculous and cool. Kind of like there's an iOS game that's not really the same thing, called Desert Golf. That's like a 2D golfing game that just does something to your brain when you get really good at it. That just the way that it looks and feels, and it's really like surreal and strange with how big it gets. This is kind of a similar thing where it just kind of messes with like scale.
This would be the opposite of
and
Desert Golf.
Yeah.
Really.
I feel like actually Desert Golf has a cool metagame thing in it too, where it tracks every single stroke you take.
Yeah, that's what it does with the scaling, where like it keeps track of how long you've been playing. And this would be the same sort of thing. It's like if Desert Golf like restarted when you missed or something.
Yeah, like if you track how many or every single building that you've lost or something like that over the course,
That would be
the whole course of things. Yeah,
that would be really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just like
kills versus buildings lost or something.
Or just really like every once in a while you get a named building, like this is Jonathan's house. Oh no, Jonathan's house is destroyed.
Have little sims. That would almost make me too connected to it, because I love stuff like City Skylines, where you could follow the cars around. I love stuff like that, and you could really mess with like having people connect with like a certain building or a certain house or whatever, and then just like killing it within 6 weeks after they built it.
Carson is the exact market demographic that I'm aiming for.
Awesome. Well, yeah, sounds like you should go with this one.
Yeah.
The card building roguelike will probably take longer anyway.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for showing this. Like I said, I do really love when very new stuff gets shown at these events, so I appreciate you bringing it out. Okay, and then to finish off the presentation portion of the evening, we got Jaden from Mind Isle Games going to be showing us Lost Llama.
Let's see, 1 second. Share screen. All right. So, as over the past year, I was previously working on a game called 4Z, and I showed it probably a few times. And that game I've been working on for years, and I wanted to create something else much simpler that I could actually complete within a few months. So started on this game, originally called Flip Out. Now it's called Las Llama. Probably will have another game before it's over. So this is a mobile casual puzzle game, I guess. So the idea is you have these. Yeah, that sounds too annoying. You have these tiles, and you have to create paths from the starting tile to the ending tile. And so each tile has two sides. There's these end tiles and the starting tiles, which you can't move. And so you just try to figure out how to do it. And they start off really easy, like any mobile casual game does, and then gradually gets harder. And what will happen over time is you'll get different types of tiles to create, different types of complexity. So mostly saw straight tiles. There's curved tiles. Then you'll be in the situation where you have extra tiles that are confused, and you're like, no, it's not that one. Tile, you can only stack one tile on top of each other. It'll stop you from stacking more tiles. So that's the general concept of the game. Right now, pretty much the game, I would say, is almost done from a functional standpoint. Let me show some of the other mechanics in the game. So far, there's like 100 levels, but some of these may not all be fun, so it's about testing and getting through them. Let's see here. So these tiles sort of have, one side has kind of like a bridge effect, and the other side, won't get you anywhere. So there's that. These black tiles cannot be moved, so it just creates more difficulty with finding the path to do it. Yeah. Anyway, they'll get much harder. Well, then we have rooms. So the concept of these tiles is to get it to the end, you have this sort of room or waypoint. So you move the blue square there, and then you move it here. And then what could happen is there could be multiple of these room tiles. So let's see. Looking for a harder one. Yeah, so there we could have multiple ones, and then yeah, this one's probably more difficult. No. Oh, no. Anyway, I'm not going to try to solve this one now. Some of these will get extremely difficult. If you notice, there's a dark gray line around the edge. So that kind of means you can't, it's to keep the games kind of in a set boundary. Yeah, and let me show one other mechanic. Danger. So if you connect one of these red things to your blue cube, you automatically fail a level and have to restart. You could always just reset the level, but that sort of does that. So, and there's other mechanics that are later on. So far, I wanted to limit the number of mechanics in the game just to make sure this is a good idea before going too crazy. I made that mistake before with other games. So, yeah. What I'm working on next. So this is all sort of prototype art, and what I'm working on now is getting designer and concept art to sort of figure out what the game could be. And that's also one we get feedback on is, this character could be, like, the game's called Las Llama now. I thought maybe this would be a llama. It could be a cat. It could be a dog. It could be no character. It could be like electricity flowing through a grid, Not sure what it's going to be. So, yeah. Any thoughts or questions so far?
I'm seeing a car because it looks like Rush Hour, like the old board game with the little plastic cars on the grid.
Yes,
the pitch. If I made this, I would just call it Rush Hour for hipsters and have it just be cars because this looks so much like Rush Hour and I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I thought about the games. I was thinking, I don't know. I feel like, especially in the mobile game world, it's so tricky. There's just so many games, so much competition. I don't know if standing out is better or being familiar is better. You know, I always struggle with
reminds me,
that.
Yeah.
it reminds me of pipes.
Pipe. Well, yeah, pipes. It is similar to pipes in a way. I guess here is just the flipping mechanics, which is
Yeah.
the sort of novel thing.
Yeah, do you have any concern about memory issues? Because it seems like I have to know what's going on the backside of all these tiles as well as the front.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is like I literally named my game studio Mind Isle Games. The whole point is to have games you really have to think a lot to solve. So yeah, they're not. It's not easy.
Sure.
And
I think it's a really interesting mechanic. I like the fact that you have to kind of like conceptualize a lot of what's going on the. And it was neat when you showed off the 2-level stacking. I don't know if you're trying to like exploit that at all, but you could have puzzles where you have to like go up a level and figure out like how you can stack things to like have a thing going 3. I don't know if you want to go that far, but it feels like there's a lot of potential here for like stuff you could do with the mechanic.
yeah, there's a lot of other ideas we have, but the thing is, if you do the stacking to that point, that just raises the complexity even higher.
Yeah, totally. It would definitely be an advanced thing as it starts to bend your mind into bad shapes, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's neat.
Yeah.
So-
On that note of difficulty, I feel like just it probably doesn't hurt to have just a bunch of easier levels. I think that's maybe underrated even, especially if you want to sell this game to. It's very easy, like as a developer, I feel like to like underestimate how difficult your game is. So I think just the core mechanic seems fun enough that people will have fun with it, even if the levels are fairly simple.
Well, yeah, I know for difficulty, I don't know if anyone here saw my previous game. It was called Forzy, based on Connect 4. The biggest problem I always had with that game is that it was too hard for people. So, yeah, I definitely like think about making things like this is the first level. You know, it's just like tells you what to do. But this is from a mobile design standpoint, that's pretty common for mobile games. Like literally tell the player what to do for the first few levels. But yeah, I definitely want to ramp up the difficulty at the right level. Not too easy, not too hard.
Cool. And I think the sort of gradual increase is like the key. You don't want this wall for newer players.
I feel like if you wanted to, you could also another solution would be to just add like a hint button or something, so it could suggest a move that you could make and get you started.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. So far, my research is I'm thinking of making this a paid game, and I feel like paid games don't give you hints. They just like you paid for it, you did it, you might as well figure it out. But free to play games would give you hints. But I went down the free to play kind of rat hole before, and I'm trying to avoid it this time and just make it a $1.99 or something mobile game just to be done with it.
If I pay for a game, I want a hint. If I pay $2, I want to get a hint every now and again.
Yeah,
really?
I already paid $2. Like, if it were free to play, and it's like, hey, pay us, and we'll give you a hint. I'm like, well, that's that's fine. I'm paying maybe whatever. But if I already paid it and that's the only price I had to pay, then yeah, I need that hint. I want to get through this game. You know?
Has anyone seen any examples of games you pay for, but then they'll give you hints in the game, like how it's done? Because all the games I've looked at lately, if you paid for the game, there weren't hints in the game. But maybe I'm just missing some of those.
I mean, it is a way to like artificially lengthen a game by just not providing that, I suppose. So you kind of feel like you got your money's worth because you're spending the amount of time on it. I don't know. I just feel like that's a weird choice for a puzzle game.
Yeah, I don't have any the top of my head, but partially the way you're talking about it sounds like a business decision more than a game design decision. And from that aspect, I'd say, like, I've definitely seen games where it's like you get hints, but if you want to pay, you can get more hints. And aside, like, just strictly design side, I can't think of what the is, but I've definitely seen games where it's like you get one hint per level, period. And then so you can like use that hint when you're like really, really stuck, but you only get the one, and that's your way of like not making it feel too easy.
Okay.
I think I've seen it with like ranking systems as well, where you can't get sort of the A rank if you use the hint. But if you just want to get past the level, you can use the hint, and you'll get like the C or the B or whatever.
Okay, maybe that's like not mobile. I know there's that game Black Box, that really tough game where you don't solve the puzzles with pressing the screen. You have to use all the phone's features. I don't think, but that one does sell hints. But yeah, anyway, yeah, maybe just one hint per level, yeah, or something. Just limited hints, I guess. Maybe is a thing.
Yeah, I mean, just like people always appreciate a bit of a nudge, like especially if it's not the monetary part of the game. So
I think if you were to avoid giving out hints, would it be okay if like people could go choose any puzzle they want to do in any order? So that way, once they figure out like one puzzle, they could just go back to the other one.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
it's
a pretty good
possible.
idea.
It's possible. Just to keep the simplicity down, I've been trying to not have UI, like this UI on the bottom here is kind of like development UI. You know, the game is just supposed to look like this, like as minimal, as simple as possible. So I don't have to build a level select, and even to add hints is a lot of extra work because then I have to figure out what the best move should be in the situation. So, yeah, all those things could be added, but yeah, then they're extra work. So it's the kind of thing. I don't want to get like bad reviews from people because I didn't have hints though, but that's like kind of figure out like what is the common what does the average person think? Like if it's you should have hints, you should that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Have you thought about making like a star ranking system for the levels you do, depending on like the number of moves you make or something like that?
Yeah, well, what I was going to do is another game recently did this, a mobile game where they record, how many moves it takes people to finish the level, and then they'll say the average in the world is 10 moves for this level, and then they'll say, oh, you did it in 9 moves, so you were ahead of the worldwide average. So that seemed like an interesting way of possibly doing it. So you just compare yourself to the average.
Is there any sort of indication of like you
Sure.
could have you could have a sorry, are we out of time, Andy?
Yeah, we're over on this one a little bit, and we can absolutely keep keep talking about this, but especially if people want to like try the game, this could be a conversation you have while you're playing it potentially. So yeah, I was wondering, Jaden, are you you said you might have test played or something? Do you have a way you want to actually try to have some people play this tonight?
Yep, I just posted the test flight link in the playtest game links folder. So yeah, it's there, ready to go. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Andrew, also, if you want to throw your link, I know you put it in just the playtest thing, but if you can throw it in the playtest game links, folks can try it there. Sorry to cut the conversation off. It is a really interesting one about like what makes it work for certain monetary systems. And I think people should totally keep having it. I just want to give folks a chance to start trying some things out. So there's a few links already posted in playtest game links. Did anyone else have something they wanted to throw in there? Cool. Then I will quickly just pump my own project a little bit. Just today, actually, I started testing a game called Diplomacy, which is a 1 turn per day territory control game styled after Diplomacy. You actually play it in this Discord. It's just powered by a Discord bot that I wrote. If that sounds cool, you can head on over to Diplomacy. The first turn just resolved, but people can hop in at any time. So that's over in Diplomacy. Pretty easy. Doesn't have to be super time consuming depending on your level of scheming. Yeah, so that's over there if you want to check that out.
Have you played Subterfuge? It sounds a lot like that.
Yes, that has come up with choice. I've looked it up. I've not had a chance to play it yet.
God, it's so good.
I did to try that
friendships.
one. So I'll post that there as well. And then, yeah, so for the rest of the time, we have about an hour left in the event. I would say folks can try out the games you got there. We've got Lost Llama Beta. Steven posted the Elf Thief that he showed very briefly. Carson has Sizzrix. Not Sizzrix, Sizzlefrix. I'm getting confused with Magic the Gathering. And yeah, so we'll keep this channel active. If people want to want to go live showing one of these games to let the dev watch, that's also totally cool. And in the meantime, you can go back to talking about hints. That's a legitimate topic of conversation.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to throw out that, like, rather than a whole, hint system and everything like that, it might just be a matter of scaling difficulty more slowly, where rather than having to remember, 4, 5, 6 backs of tiles, maybe some tiles are the same on both sides, and those are a different color or something like that, so that you can introduce really predictable, easy puzzles with only one element of uncertainty, and then slowly introduce more tiles with a different back or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. I think no matter what, especially like, there's always some children who play games, and the children, the level of ability between a child and adult is always going to be different. So it's really hard to balance for everyone. But yeah, the slower you ramp up, it's definitely going to be better for more people.
Yeah, and like you mentioned specifically wanting to keep minimal UI, and I feel like you've got 2 colors to work with on all of those tiles, so like maybe those colors could signify different things. So you don't have to add a ton of UI, but they, a red tile means this, a yellow tile means that. Lets you not add a bunch of UI clutter, but lets you communicate something.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I actually purposely didn't try to over-design it because I have some design skill, but I would really wanted to contact a full-time designer to get a theme for the game. Yeah, it's just design is tough for me, so yeah.
Just to pop in for one more second, that we also have a tabletop simulator workshop file for Swords at Dusk that just got posted. I know Oliver is looking for about 4 people to try that out, so if that sounds cool, just let Oliver know, and they can try to get a game going.
Dexter, your name's Dexter, right? From the game, the 4-player game.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Dex. So I'm trying to play your game. I had a couple of issues. I don't know if this is the place to share them, or should I be like reaching out directly? Sorry, it's my first virtual playtest night.
Yeah, I think Andy can answer that. For me, it's fine.
No, go for it.
Okay, yeah.
Dexter, if you don't mind that being public, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I had a couple of notes. One is, you have 4 players here, and you have arrow keys mapped to them. I was going through each of the players to see which one would be like more, how can I say it, like easier to play. And I found them a little hard. Like you have to put your hands in weird places to be able to play around. So I think you might want to, like look at what good layouts could be. I'm running into similar problems just doing keyboard layouts for my games, and
yeah,
I don't really have a great solution. But
it's like, it's kind of, I mean, it's obviously not obvious from the game where the like keys are hard coded, but it's definitely like supposed to be played with controllers or like on an arcade stick or something.
Yeah.
But the tricky and what I would like to do is like have WASD and maybe like J and K or something. But fitting like 4 people onto the same keyboard makes it really tricky. So I would actually love input on that. If anybody has
so just from how you're presenting it here, it's even if I had like 1 or 2 players in a layout that's kind of friendly, I think that would be great. I don't think you need to accommodate 4 players on a single keyboard. But if you are, and I'm not saying that you are, but let's say that if you were doing playtesting for this game for people that play with keyboards, I think you definitely don't want to have this layout, and maybe just focus on having 2 players that work really well. What I'm doing right now for my games, and I'm still kind of iterating on it, but I'm trying to do like for player 1 ASDW. And then I just found that people have an easier time finding the larger keys, so like Tab and Shift.
Ah, cool. Okay.
And then similarly on the right for player 2, what I do is the arrows. And well, I'm on a game that just uses one key for player 2, but space and arrows are great. But if you had to do 2, I don't know, maybe M and N. But anyway, it's just this idea that you want to, like put people on places where they can have their hands and easily reach the buttons.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that's
then
awesome. That's great feedback.
Cool. And then the other note is that maybe I'm on an intro screen or I'm on a level that just you can't move out of. I'll share a screenshot with you if you want. But I have like nowhere to go. I joined the game and I'm like stuck in a little cell here. I'm quarantined in the game.
Right. Do you not see the thing that says shoot to join?
You could go live and just share your screen and
that
would,
yeah, do it.
Yeah, I know I'm doing that, testing out Carson's game right now. I kind of want to do like the classic talk while I play test sort of thing.
Would it be useful for me to set up a few separate voice channels? Would that be helpful?
Let's give it a shot. Like I think it'd be.
I could just make a temporary one for like Sizzle Fricks or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I can do that pretty quick.
Yep.
Voice channel, Sizzle Fricks temp. Private voice channel. Okay, so I just made a channel for Sizzle Fricks. If you want to stream that there.
Cool.
For what it's worth, Jaden, I'm at level 16 Lost Llama, but I obviously can't stream it right now. It's going good so far.
Okay.
Nice.
And then, is there anyone? So who's still here? Yeah, are there folks who have Tabletop Simulator who would like to try Swords at Dust, since that one will take a little bit of orchestrating to get players in? I unfortunately do not have Tabletop Simulator.
I say let other people play test the other things first. Like I know I want to get my hands into some things before,
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
yeah. And if anything, we can schedule time after this.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay. I'm going to test temp right now, and I'm gonna just do a quick live play.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a little lost here. How am I supposed to share this stuff with Dex? Should we is there parallel channels?
Sure, I'll start one for that too. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We're gonna make temporary voice channels so people can go live, and then nobody talks over one another trying to get feedback.
Right. By the way, I'm a total noob on Discord, so yeah, sorry for having to over-explain stuff.
No, I think a lot of us are new to it. I know I am. So.
Oh, same here.
Sweet. Right. So there is now a Sizzle Fricks channel as well as an Attack Angle channel. So if you're playing those games, you can hop in there, stream it, talk to the devs. And if anyone else wants a channel made, just hit me up. I'm happy to make one.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
See you at Sizzle Fricks.
Yeah, I'm hopping in the Attack Angle one.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for all the demos, by the way. They're all super cool. And I wanted to say, I forgot to say that during the balance board game, I tried that live, and it works really, really well. Just for the people who cannot try it right now, it's super cool.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone for testing. I hope you hang out and play some games. Or for listening, I don't know.
Thanks, Andy.
All the games are cool.
Yeah, thank you. Andy, we're still live on Twitch. We could go into one of those things or the other. I don't know which one will make a better stream.
Dealer's choice, Chris. You're,
all right. I see.
You're standing behind the camera.
Sizzlefrix is live now, so let's hop in there for a bit.
Sure.
Okay. Oh. Who's on? Oh, hey everyone. So I'm just testing it out, doing the usual fuck around with everything and see if anything breaks. But few first comments that I've got right now is first few comments is like I really like the that feels really satisfying. Like the sound probably could be turned down a little bit, but like I really do like kind of paddling my two fingers to kind of do like a rapid fire. It feels less like a gun and definitely more yeah, you know, like I'm doing magic sort of thing. So like that's great job on that, getting that feeling down. The Doom Quake inspiration definitely shows. Oh no, all right, but yeah, like you know, I'm really like you guys have done a really good job with making the shooting feel really like unique for what you're going for. Yeah, but like the rapid fire is just really fun. Ba, 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 you know? But yeah, it might just be my headphones, but you know, I just feel like a bit too loud from the start. Like just putting that down a little bit might help. Especially if like with at least in my experience, a lot of first-person shooters rely on like that, you know, sound cues on figuring out where things are, and if my if my ears are filled with my own spell, I don't quite get that. As for kind of the level design, let's see. Like, I think you might be onto something with, like, more like walled, sort of Doom-like sort of level design of, like, kind of the environment being a means to adjust difficulty of a certain, like, as a means to adjust difficulty and working with the types of enemies you have. Because, like, right now, I have a lot... Oh, wait, what was... Oh, right. There's other people also throwing fireballs that I can't tell the difference between. I thought that was... Oh! I thought that was my fireball. Anyway. It too long near me, but I think just lowering the volume it starts at will probably fix that issue. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm genuinely like really pleased with doing that. Yeah, it, like, the work you're putting in on the shooting really shows here. I mean, obviously it's probably not gonna be like this. Like, you know, I'm just throwing out unlimited fireballs forever. But you know, those moments where you can are gonna feel really nice. I do like the projectile quality of these too, of like being able to use the drift to kind of really being able to use kind of the projectile lag to really take care of some things.
What's going on? Sorry, I was AFK for a second, and I come back and there's people in a channel playing my game. What's going on?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was just doing a live play of just kind of me playtesting things.
Cool. Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, like for some reason I'm running into a bug right now, but I like the it really shows that you have been focused on kind of making the shooting feel really good.
Yep.
For some reason, I have stopped throwing out fireballs. I think I might just need a reset.
If you click out of the window, they'll stop showing up for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
The physics for it will still happen, but for whatever reason, if you like alt tab out and click somewhere else, the thing will go away. The particle effect for some reason. I'm not sure.
I turned off video. Can you see my screen?
1 sec. It's loading right now. Yeah, and I think other people are having the same thing.
It's still loading for me.
I don't think this is working, guys. I probably need to do permissions or something.
Yeah, probably.
So, do you have Discord installed in your machine, or are you using the web client? I wasn't sure what the Safari comment earlier was.
So I'm. Let me close this for a sec. I'm running the Discord app, but I guess I don't have permission.
That I had is that while you're standing on a slope, it sets the offset to some sort of weird value and then doesn't set it back. So that could partially be it too. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna go through what I said earlier. Like,
Yeah, I mean, some of that, like the main puzzles, it's about persistence and just trying more states.
Like aim down the sights, like click the head. We want it to be like find something that moves quickly and click it. And sort of figuring out the travel times and all that, whatever that is.
Like one thing that I would say is I would probably for the fireball sound, I'd probably lower it a little bit, like from the because it's a little bit too loud.
Yeah, no, this audio. So the sound right now, those sounds aren't the final sounds for the fireballs. And the entire audio mix is probably going to change for next week's build. A dynamic music system where the music changes based on what happens in the game. And,
is there a hard reset button? I think I'm stuck.
I would just exit.
Alt tab,
Alt tab and quit. I didn't mean to compile it to be full screen like that.
I see. Okay, let me make sure it's windowed then.
Yep.
All right, I'll put it back on.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a dubstep system where it like starts with like a kick and a snare and a little melody, and then when the enemies start spawning in and you're within a certain radius, like once you step onto a platform where enemies are at, it'll like bring in another melody and maybe some violins, and then you start shooting, and then it adds some crazy like wub based sounds, and it sort of slowly builds until you're in this like weird sort of Beat Sabery type environment. So you're really tuned into the music, kind of like Doom's music. One of our little pitches is a Doom dubstep.
Yeah.
Be, electronic.
With that in mind, have you considered like kind of a more like cyberpunky esque aesthetic? Like this is like the enemies can stay the same. It's just the theme can change,
We're sticking pretty hard to magic. Maybe we're thinking about some sort of mechanical things, like if there's like a mech or like some steampunk gears or something here and there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm pretty solid on it being like magical. A lot of the stuff that we've been mood boarding in terms of what we want our levels to be is like I don't like Harry Potter, but like Harry Potter and Skyrim and some like Nordic art and a lot of stuff like that. God, that is really loud. That's awful. That was the one thing that I forgot to change this week was the volume. And the AI, like we don't really know quite where I didn't really tune any of it yet, so they're probably not super fun to interact with. Like I think the knights should be a little bit faster and stuff, but just kind of a test to make sure that the shooting is fun and that they look cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Other things I've noticed. Ooh, I didn't know that happened. So fireballs cancel out. That's great.
Yeah.
And
the idea too is that like if you have a fireball and a fireball, they'll just kind of phase through each other slowly. But if you hit like water, if you have a water spell and you hit a fireball, the fireball fizzes out, but the water keeps going. And messing with like elemental stuff like that might be really fun.
Cool. Have you like looked at like I feel like BioShock feels like an obvious first like pull on like interesting first person shooter powers. Let's see.
BioShock's kind of
it feels like somewhat unattractive though. So I don't know.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Placeholder of a game it is. And not like you need to change it right away, but I don't know. I feel like the mechanics are getting refined to a point where you can just go more into the like visual or sort of like how it feels and vibe and whatnot. Because the music and the gameplay feel like you're in a club almost. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome feedback. Thanks, man.
Yeah, but then like I feel the visuals could feel a bit more sophisticated towards that vibe or not, but like they could get richer I don't know, I'm not sure like exactly what it is, but like that you can go I feel that you can go like deeper on that. Oh yeah, and a couple other things somewhat related to this. I think the scan lines, like the light part of the scan lines are too fat, and maybe you want to make them like either the same, like 1 pixel dark, 1 pixel light. I think that might look a little sharper.
Wait, so more distinct scan lines, basically, or
yeah. What sort of scan line are you using?
It's just the shader, basically. You can change anything about.
Yeah, but like, what's in the shader? Like, what's the
I think it's just darkening pixels by different amounts, more or less.
Right. So right now I would say that it's like darkening, like say 6 pixels or 6 pixels, and then 1 is light, and then on the opposite actually. It's like 6 light, 1 dark, 6 light, 1 dark. What I'm saying,
I get it.
I think you'd be better off with a more regular scan line where it's like 1-1 or like 2-2 or 4-4. I don't know. I've done a bunch of scan lines, and that for me they always look better when they're more regular. But obviously that's like totally subjective. And then it doesn't feel like the scan lines are going on top of the game elements, so it feels kind of like it's on the background. And I think it would give it a more interesting vibe if like the scan lines are actually on top of the of the game instead of like something on the background.
Yeah, I've been thinking of doing the sort of CRT distortion thing where it's a little like curve sort of, and I think that would make it feel more like they're part of it.
Yeah, so you want it's like a number of things that like kind of want to come together around that. Because are you trying to make it feel like a vector game?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay, well, in that case, other comments that I had, I'm gonna say for myself. But
right.
And then I think the attack angle or whatever ends up being the title. I think if the lines had a bit more similar outfit to the game elements, it would feel better. Now,
the title text.
Yeah, so like doing something that maybe has like thinner lines, or something like that. And then one other thing, this might be like a really stupid idea, but I would try spacing out a little more the cubes that compose the scene. I don't know if you have like a bigger monitor than me, and for you it looks better, but for me it's like they are close enough that I would rather have them be either like attached to each other or separated, but it's like on a weird like less than a pixel zone that I don't know.
How big your screen is, because I'm like, as I am like resizing it, if you can see it on the stream, it is like changing a little bit, but at some point when I was full screen, the bigger the screen, definitely the better it is. And like I agree on like spacing it out a little bit.
Yeah, I feel probably Dex, you have it. I'm gonna throw the hypothesis that you usually work on this on a game that's bigger than a 13-inch monitor.
It's 15.
15.
Okay. 16 now, if you want to.
16, right. So on my 13 monitor, not at full screen, it feels like there's like a weird tiny spacing that maybe on a bigger monitor feels subtle, but here it just looks like too tight.
Yeah, I just like if you do a resize on even if you have a bigger monitor, if you just do a resize on the browser, you'll be able to see it a little bit, I think. Right. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so either closer together or slightly more space.
I mean, either attached or a little spaced. I would try it. I'm not saying that it would be better. I'm saying that I would try it because right now it feels like it's like I don't know. It feels like a little uncomfortably close. It's like I either want more air or just no air at all.
Okay, cool.
But that might be just me. I'm kind of obsessed with pixels like that, and also the typeset that you're using breaks a little bit, and that might be just from how the typography resizes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right.
And then the last one, the shoot to join square, I think could be like a little more interesting than just like a black, like an empty square. Maybe it's like if you tilt it 45 degrees, it would stand out a bit more.
Right, just more of a call to action because it's the most important thing on the screen, right?
Yeah, and the type that says shoot to join is literally the same size as the controllers, and then the square is like the same geometry and almost the same color as the blocks, so it's very easy to miss.
Right.
Sorry, I know that was a lot, but none of it is important. I prefaced everything saying that, right?
I mean,
So that's awesome. That's
like,
why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Who's like, is someone playing right now?
I am playing, yes. I'm green, and I was dying nonstop, so I'm trying to actually get good.
Oh god, these beats are fucking tasty. Like, I'm just gonna say, that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, ah. And
oh gosh.
Oh, you're the last one. You're the last one. You can do it.
So my thing is, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just me needing to get used to it, is that I keep thinking that it's a one life thing and I'm dead, and once I die I'm like, I just let go, and then I'm like, oh crap, I'm back in. So
yeah, maybe a visual feedback on just like your
indicator on like
you have
going back,
because
or
you have it in the GUI, but maybe it would be nice to have something on the player. I was thinking maybe like just when you get hit, you'll see how many lives you have or something like that. Just temporarily.
Yeah, I think something like that's what I was thinking. I'm just like, if I had just something on the square to indicate what and also just be good for the other players to know too. Just like, oh, you have one life left, I'm gonna go after you and all that.
Right. I mean, you can see that at all times, like in the GUI, I guess. Because I'm looking for sort of this like middle ground where you can see it on your player when it's the most relevant, like when you get hit, but without it being too sort of cluttered as well. Maybe there's a nice way of like having it on the player as well, like some sort of visual.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, Dexter, that really depends on like what sort of like what you're targeting the experience for the game to be, and if you want it to be sort of like an arcade type of game, it's really important information, your health, and it should be visible all the time, I think.
Cool.
You know, it's kind of like
and it should it be on the player? Because right now it's in the GUI, right?
It's in the UI, but like the amount of the amount of time I look at the actual UI is kind of negligible, especially in a game that kind of requires my attention to like survive in.
Awesome.
Yeah, honestly, everything in the GUI, I'm just not looking at as I am playing, like including like the speed reloads and shots. Like, I'm just trying to stay alive and not get shot and trying to get the other players. So my eyes, especially as I'm moving left more and more, like right now I'm all the way on the left, I do not want to look on the right to see what is going on.
That's cool. I mean, Bomberman solves this by just not showing it anywhere.
Yeah.
You just move faster, right?
I mean, if your reload is getting faster, if your speed is getting faster, you'll just notice as a player while you're playing, right?
Yeah, maybe I should just remove the GUI, right? Like altogether.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot cleaner too. Just like have these squares just fighting each other.
I like that. I actually have a question on because I also want to have like more effects and stuff, maybe make it even more like connected to sort of the beats, and like have the gameplay and the music like affect the visuals. But I'm looking for like sort of this middle ground where it's still easy to sort of follow what's going on, and I don't know what I can use for inspiration for that.
I mean,
I think like I feel that even maybe before adding more stuff, it would be cool to see it solidify more around what's like already happening. And like one thing I felt playing, oh sorry, I'm gonna silence the game. Can I? No. Is that I feel there are some issues to like understand when you get hit, and sort of like if you're winning or losing, kind of a, you know, like it feels like party. It feels very positive, and I you know, it's like, did I just get hurt. It feels like MTR, you know, like grouping. You know what I mean?
What you're saying is that there just needs to be kind of more like more game state feedback of like, I'm not really sure if I'm winning or losing right now. I just like, I'm having a good time, don't get me wrong, but I'd also like to know if like I'm ahead or behind. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes. I think that what you already have going on, Dex, on like sync of gameplay and music is like amazing. So you know,
awesome.
anything that you add on top of that, it's one person's opinion, but I think anything that you add on top of that is like time that you didn't spend like bootstrapping the like more core mechanic and sort of like game aspect of it.
Yeah, that's definitely where I ended up, like design-wise. I'm really happy with the core of the game, and I just want to polish right now.
Yeah, I mean, as like just like as a cabinet though, like the way that I remember you intending it, I believe, like you know, if I was just there in an arcade and I just saw this, and I mean, the one thing that I'm like a little sad about is that, like, you know, arcades are loud, and I know some of the music gets drowned out. I mean, I definitely remember Wonderville that like a lot of sound kind of just gets drowned out by everything. So, but like,
well,
you know,
you can solve that with the cabinet design, actually.
Yeah. But
there's
like,
a lot of like Japanese arcades. Okay. It's a bit like exaggerated, I guess, but they have like Japanese music games tend to have like even a headphone jack.
Oh yeah. That would.
Even if you like point the speakers properly and like have the right kind of like side design for it, you can, you know, like the sound can be a bubble on the cabinet. I don't know. It feels like
cool.
So bass can be an option for something. Like if
but yeah, no, I'm just having a lot of fun just watching this game like happen.
It's a lot of fun. I gotta tell you that.
Like I know there's only one person playing and everyone else is just a stupid bot, but just like, you know, the beat and the kind of reaction, the auditory reactions to the gameplay is just really just very
So did you play with
a little, but yeah, I'm really just
of having a sound when you actually shoot by any chance? Because I feel like the shoot, I don't get a feedback by shooting that much.
Yes, I actually played with that literally today, but didn't turn up with anything good enough for playtest.
Gotcha.
So actually, a sort of criticism I have of myself with this game is so right now all the sounds are synced to what is it, like 16ths? It's like quantized. So I'm thinking of making it so what happens is that sometimes when you like hit one of the mirrors or when you shoot, like the sound isn't like it's synced up with the beat, but it's not really synced up with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So like your agency as a player isn't sort of conveyed the way you want. So
I mean, like, if you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
If that means anything.
Right.
I don't have a background in sound, so I like. Yeah,
don't assume everyone to like know everything that you know. You know how the software
right.
is just made, so we're enjoying it as is, but like it's like I really like the sound. I can definitely notice it when
I really like this
off
separate room idea a lot. I hope we get. I think we should keep it for next time.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I feel like this is very like focused. It's great. So much good feedback too.
Next, one more thing. There is. Wait, one sec. Oh yeah. So I also experienced this on the earlier version. I think it's better now, but I feel there's like a little room for improvement still, which is that when you walk through a mirror I feel either the mirror should do something, or not any mechanical effect necessarily, but you should feel like you're crossing a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like mirror, like, you know, wiggles, or something happens to you, like you know, sort of like something that communicates the fact that you're going through something that you know, maybe you like walk slower, or you can't use the shield. I don't know, something. I don't know how you can communicate it, but like something should happen because it's like you're walking through a mirror, which in fact, you know, like in literature and everything, it has all these connotations, and you know, in your game, it has this like mechanical weight. So I feel that something should be conveyed about that. You know, like
right. So actually, right now, if you pass through a mirror and your shield is activated, it actually disables the mirror. The mirror gets like a lower alpha value, and it's disabled. And that's to make it so that it's not like ambiguous which thing is gonna reflect the laser. But the thing is, there's still sort of an issue where you're standing like on the mirror. What exactly is gonna happen when you shoot it? So one like super duper easy way to solve this is to just always disable it when you're standing on it.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's actually gonna solve bugs as well. That's good feedback.
Yeah, so something kind of fun would happen where you can like take cover behind a mirror, right? And you like move backwards and are, you know, standing behind the mirror, and someone can't shoot you, but then you like step on the mirror and shoot, and then go back.
Oh shit! Yeah, wow, that might actually be tactics.
Yeah.
It's easier.
It's a strategy.
I like that.
It's a move, you know. It's kind of like a move that you figure out. Yeah. But you want to show it visually, you know, with the
I just want to say, go ahead.
To a level where it's like immediately obvious that something's happening with the mirror, and if that's what's happening, then it should look like that, right? It should be, you know, like become pretty low in terms of capacity.
Yeah. So if you actually try activating a shield on top of a mirror,
I'll do that.
You're gonna see the effect. Damn. Player 1 CPU. Flawless.
I was gonna say, I appreciate the fact that you made it so you don't get stuck on corners and you keep moving. Like, I know you added that, and that is a cool thing to have.
Yeah, that's really interesting with disabling shield just when the player touches it, because that might actually solve multiple problems at the same time.
Alright, the guy went here.
Well, I gotta get going. I just got a long day tomorrow, but thank you for sharing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for participating and for the feedback.
Yeah, no worries. Alright.
Hopefully we'll see each other IRL at Wonderville at some point.
Oh gosh, I hope so.
Not too far in the future.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll see y'all later.
Bye guys.
See ya.
Bye bye. We're just gonna keep playing to infinity.
Yeah, it's really fun seeing somebody else play it, because like when you're developing it, you're like obsessed with all these details, and you even sort of get tired of your own game.
Oh gosh, it was using a shield on me. Oh gosh.
I don't know if you want to know what the AI's behavior is.
I mean, honestly, it's as good as it is now. I mean, you can explain it to me, because I'll be entertained by the technical parts of it.
Yeah, so I think you don't, in this game, you definitely don't want the AIs to sort of cheat. I think that would just feel really unfair and wouldn't be fun. So what they actually do is they select a completely random point on the board, and then they just walk there like the fastest way that's possible.
Nice.
And at random intervals, they fire the laser and deploy the shield.
Oh, that somehow that actually made it work really well then.
Yeah, it works unreasonably well for sure.
Yeah, no,
And,
definitely.
they actually have one more thing they do is that if they're close to another player, it just gets a new random point. So that makes it so that they like sort of avoid each other. And I mean, I added those things, and the AI was winning sometimes. So I just like, I guess I'll just not do it anymore.
No, I mean, this is, you know, for a multiplayer game, the AI is just there in case like someone like me is playing. Just
Yeah,
trying to
I feel like it's not
games,
like worse than like Bomberman AI or whatever.
It's no. I mean, I think it's actually really good.
Awesome, thanks.
Did you? I know like you're using a lot of effects. Did you try like having like a tail to the player to see where they were before? The reason why I think I watched was like Video Balls video. It's a GDC video, and like their idea is that you always want to see the state of the game by just looking at it. And one thing is like the idea is that like if you look at a screenshot, then you should be able to know what's happening with the game.
Right.
I mean, you have a lot of effects. I wonder if like it would help at all to just like add like a small like tail behind the players as they are moving.
That would be cool. Actually, I did experiment with that, but I kind of just failed, and then I worked on something more important. But now I'm sort of in that polish phase where that kind of thing does make a lot of sense.
Because I can tell you like when like that will help you like give a feedback on things like when you are actually moving faster, then you can kind of see
exactly. Yeah, that's
moving
cool.
fast.
That's cool. That's actually exactly what I would be using it for. So that's something I would like to add, like effects that make it like when you get these power-ups, effects that make it feel like you're more powerful. Like maybe add more effects to the laser, make it bigger could be one thing. I don't know. Something that makes it feel like when you're at full power, that should be like reflected in your player character somehow.
Yeah, no,
so
totally.
Like all ideas concerning that, I'm super open to and like interested in.
That AI really shot me really well. But yeah, I think if I had one thing I would say is like when I die and I spawn again, I just for whatever reason it's just not like clicking with me. That's the only part. Maybe like have me explode or something and then be dim and then show up like just like light up once or something like as I spawn kind of thing. Maybe allow me to like move around when I'm actually dead for a little bit as like some kind of a ghost, and then
right. So you want to look more different than like the default sprite. No, it's like you get slightly lower opacity, and that's not super. Doesn't convey like that much.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I know like I lost I guess the I don't know the gun, the indicator when I do that, but it's not as clear that when I can't move and when can I play again.
Right. Oh, so actually like I could steal something or just reuse something. So when you shoot the laser, right? The new one spawns as like tiny, and then it grows until you can use it, and it makes this little flash effect when it's ready. Yeah, I could do that like just as a first experiment, sort of. I could do that exact same thing when you die.
Yeah, that would actually be really good.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, and again, I think some indicator in the lives, like I know I'm a box right now, indicators inside of me somehow, so I would know how many lives I have. Okay, now, and then maybe have it disappear somehow or shatter somehow when I'm like back to life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay. So now that I'm thinking about it more and I'm understanding the game more, I'm seeing like the Pac-Man palettes, I guess, the powers that I'm seeing myself building up. That is fine to be because I'm not so worried about the details when I'm fighting. Like when I'm far away, I can look into it and glance into it.
Cool. Okay.
But I want to know how many lives I have at all time.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I mean, I think a lot of games do that. I've got what would be a good example, but
that's good. It's a little tricky with like these sort of abstract player characters that I have, to have something like natural that would sort of convey how many lives you have. Maybe you could have like layers, like you have three outlines or something, and you lose one of the outlines when you're hit.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you will have to experiment with just different options until you find the one that works. There's no...
For sure.
I mean, I can tell you something and then you can try it and then I would tell you that it's bad, right?
Right. Yeah, the tricky thing is, I feel like the player character is pretty small, and like putting things on the character, it's a little tricky. So even just adding like that little shield sprite, I've spent a lot of time on just making it work at all, basically. But especially the lives, definitely worth spending some time on.
So I have not played with it at all, but yeah, this game, like, what did you build it in by any chance? It's not Unity, is it?
It's all JavaScript, so it's
okay.
It's a framework called Phaser.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, Phaser is good stuff. I played with it a little bit.
Some stuff for free.
Nice.
I think the next game I build, I'll probably not use one of those frameworks. I'll probably try to make it like pretty raw JavaScript, and then add stuff as I need it. I felt like sometimes I would solve like a phaser problem rather than my game problem, sort of.
Yeah, I that's why I quit Phaser. I actually built a project with it. It was and you can, if you look up an asteroid clone, they still have an example on their website, and that the physics on that is still broken.
Yeah, that was funny.
So like I spent more time trying to fix that than I was actually trying to work on my game, and that was fun times.
Yeah,
the reason why I mentioned Unity, and I'm sure you can do the technique in other games as well, but there's like some... I didn't really dig into it much, but there's some technique to make sprites glow, and the idea is that you make things around it darker for a second. It's kind of one of those like fancier Unity built-in stuff, honestly.
So there's a broken lighting system in Phaser, because of course there's... It doesn't work.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, is like, if there's
sadly
some kind of a lighting system that you can use.
Yeah, so I think it's there, but it just doesn't do anything, basically. Sadly. Yeah, I don't know if you're interested in any more like technical details, but like a part of the design philosophy for this game is that I wanted to have no assets whatsoever. So actually the only assets are, the framework Phaser itself, and the fonts, and then the rest is just code.
Nice.
So all the music is just web audio, like the built-in sort of sine wave library that you have in the browser.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And the graphics are just, square dot draw.
Well, honestly, I really like it. I like the simplicity of it, because especially with like competitive games, I like the simple. It's like a field game, right? And like it becomes a game, and it's all about like execution. It's all about.
That's cool. That's exactly what I was sort of going for. I love those kinds of games. So I really love like fighting games. I love Tetris. I love shoot 'em ups. Yeah, arcade games, I guess.
So yeah, even with shoot 'em ups, right? Like it turns more into like, especially if you play like the avoiding, like the I don't know what the genres names are, but like the ones that are more about like avoiding bullets than it is about
Oh, like bullet hell games.
Bullet hell games, yeah. Like it's like in its core, it's just one circle trying to avoid other circles, right? Like, but they add like some personality. Oh gosh, okay. They add some personality around it, but it's still like you still need to see what is the core of the game, and
for sure,
as long as you have that, you can have like people who actually want to get better at the game. But as soon as you lose that, as soon as you add like random elements or any reason why the player would lose and they don't know why, that's when they like would lose interest. Like they would see it for it would still be a fun game, but it would just be like a gambling thing. But this here,
and that's kind of what it felt like with the power-ups that I had, like the bullet that went through walls. People would just be like, I don't understand why I died. Just things like that.
Damn.
So that's why I'm trying to avoid now. So that's awesome. That's perfect feedback, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about sounds, but if you can get the bullet to make a sound that plays with the music, even if it's delayed, that would be a cool deal. I don't know what, but I feel like
I tried one that was just like a really bassy sound, but since the only issue is kind of like you shoot a lot in this game, so it's gotta be a sound that you can sort of bear with hearing over and over and over again.
True.
But definitely, yeah. So right now, like all the sounds are like pretty much all they're conveying is like being part of the music. So I want to have some more like audio feedback that tells you what's sort of happening in the game.
So I'm noticing that like the song itself have like different parts. Do they change like based on like the? And I know nothing about honestly sounds of music, but like do they change based on like how many, like if someone dies or something, or how does that work? Because I know it's a loop, right? But like,
so the
loop. Go ahead.
All the synths are generated by gameplay. So picking up power-ups, hitting mirrors, hitting other players. The drums and the bass is hard-coded. But I actually had one idea where like when there were only 2 players left, like I would increase the BPM.
Yeah.
And since that actually like changes stuff in the gameplay, that could be pretty cool. So that would actually make like the mirrors reshuffle more often, because they do it like every whatever X amount of beats. I think that could be a cool way to like increase intensity. But yeah, that could also be a cool way of just conveying like what state of the game you're in, like changing that loop somehow.
Nah, I'm just thinking. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, there's a part of the game, I guess, when like the mirrors change, and that's when the music changes. So maybe, cause like I didn't notice that, and if you like every time a player dies, like. Honestly, experiment with it and see how it goes. I don't know if that'll be good or not. But every time a player dies, you switch the mirrors of some sort, or like you play that beat or something. I don't know. It just happens maybe every X, right? Like the mirrors just change position. But if you like, okay, one player is eliminated, and then you do it, and there's like faster BPM sound that is really cool. Oh gosh,
that's cool.
I died there.
Yeah, speed up every time one of the player dies, maybe?
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I think even just a slight increase would be like noticeable and make it feel like sort of more intense.
Yes. It'll be like like one of my favorite multiplayer games, like speedrunners, and like when you have I think 2 players left, like the camera gets smaller and smaller to kind of eliminate players.
Oh yeah,
it just gets it just becomes more and more intense as you have more people, like less people, and it kind of makes the game finish a little bit faster too.
Yeah, that's definitely like a game design thing that I would want to have, where, especially like in an arcade setting, which is sort of the dream goal with this game.
Yeah,
a cabinet would be I would be so happy with that. But to not have people just have to wait around for too long, because I mean you can die, right? So there's gonna be waiting. But to speed it up once there are just 2 players left, for example.
Doesn't Pac-Man do that by any chance? Like maybe Miss Pac-Man, where like the less pallets you have around, the faster you move, and at some point it just becomes like really, really fast. Not sure.
It's not like that. I wonder also if Pac-Man, like the new like super intense, like disco ones.
Championship edition, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, definitely inspiration for this game as well. Championship edition.
Is that what it's actually called?
Yeah, it's like DX.
Yeah.
Pac-Man DX maybe. I think one of them's called Championship Edition.
I think so. It's a very Street Fighter.
Yeah.
DX name.
It's a funny name for a Pac-Man game.
They're fantastic games. I love those.
Yeah, they're really fucking good. I feel like they're kind of slept upon a little bit.
Yeah.
Legit, really good games. So something they have that I would sort of want to have, there's like a few cool ways of making your game feel more like, I don't know, more intense. So one of them is like slow-mo, and another is like just pausing the game for a split second when something cool is happening. So in that game, like when you eat a ghost, it just pauses, and then you get this like feeling when you get to move again.
The pause feel is always amazing. It's one of those odd things because like you don't really notice it, but once I knew about it in like game development, I was like, yeah, that's so cool.
It's awesome, but it's super, super hard to apply to multiplayer games, and especially when there's more than 2 people, because it's gonna affect all of them, right? If you pause the game and you're not even related to the event that pauses it, then it's sort of it's instrumental instead of like it helping.
So do it on last shot then. Maybe last shot should be like a dramatic like death, right? Because you're ending the game anyway. Like here, like what this just happened. Like have that slow down, and I mean, of course, those like things more polished, but
it would kind of be cool to have. So I actually tried different like camera settings and stuff, and having the camera pan around, and I felt like it actually didn't work. It would be kind of funny to have the camera actually changed only on that last shot. Like have a camera just for that one purpose.
Yeah. That
would be pretty cool.
So regarding the mirror earlier, we were discussing that. If you want, like I'm okay with like being on top of it and everything, but like if you maybe like make it go like dim a little bit as you are going on top of it, is that?
Yeah. So actually, if you activate your shield while on top of a mirror,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe what should happen. Just if a player is on a mirror instead. And the fact that it like deactivates it, if I just let the player do that instead, that actually helps solve some bugs and like things that's a bit ambiguous right now. Because if your laser is sort of on the mirror, which way does it reflect? It doesn't really make sense, right? Yeah, like that doesn't.
Yeah, that doesn't
make sense.
Gosh. Okay.
So I could like a bunch of code that sort of looks at pixels this or that way, or I just disable the mirror, and that solves multiple problems. That's great.
So one thing I would say here for this text that I was gonna mention, what? I forgot the eye thing that I have, but I only have astigmatism. I have astigmatism, and it makes it hard for me to read like back with very light text in front of them. So what people usually do for accessibility for websites, including like Discord, they actually don't use like a high brightness white color. They actually use more of a grayish one, and that makes it okay to use like a dark background with a light one. Like I'm having a hard time actually. It's not so hard, but I would have to focus to actually read attack angle right here. Everything else is fine.
Right. So, sorry, what's the sort of solution? I guess again, just Google.
You would
contrasts.
No,
Stuff.
I work with accessibility, so like I kind of know a lot about that. Just honestly, making it a little bit darker. Like I think on the letters that are next to the. Maybe it's just because it's a different font and there's more spacing here. I'm having less of an issue with it, but like the arrow, the shoot to join. Enter, I'm kind of seeing letters on top of each other, so I'm not like the TER. Like I can understand it, but it's like it's hard to read the enter there. It needs more spacing in between the letters. But
sorry, on the title or
yeah, for the title, just make it a little bit darker, like a little bit grayish. And I know that's probably not what you're going for, but like I would either make it a little bit dark. I mean, you can check with me again, but like make it a little bit like grayish, or try to like separate the letters a little bit, and maybe that would help. I would have to kind of see it to know it. But if you want, it's called it's astigmatism. So if you want to look up like the actual eye thing, that's what you look for.
Yeah, for sure. So actually, when the font is really small, it was actually impossible to read some of the letters because they were so like on top of each other.
Yeah.
So actually, for like the instruction ones, there's actually just like straight up a space in between every single letter.
Yeah, like arrows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that you said it, I have to notice it.
But yeah, that's awesome feedback. I mean, that's stuff that I don't see myself, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and like maybe just like check with people who might be like colorblind, right? If they see anything. I mean, there's different kind of color blindness, so it's worth it. And it'll be quick change, and people usually would appreciate that kind of stuff.
For sure.
I'm just gonna keep
I
playing.
actually had this idea that it's probably not very epilepsy friendly, but also is any arcade game.
Yeah,
like,
true. Yeah. With accessibility, it's a sad thing, but sometimes there's only so much you can do. Especially for an arcade game. Like, you can maybe add settings and options, but at that point, you are kind of taken away from the game experience, sadly, of like being like a music game. So, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I know it's a lot of work that can go toward other stuff as well. I understand that. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the AI is actually really good. Like,
that's funny.
Like, I'm actually, like, maybe if I stop drinking and, like, yeah, if I'm drinking in a place and I just, for you maybe it's like you know exactly how they will behave because you played it so much, but for me it's like it's definitely more than good enough.
Right. So a super simple thing to make it slightly less good is just to make them fire not quite as often, and I think that would work. Just increase sort of the random interval at which they fire.
I like that right now they are both stuck though.
Oh, this doesn't ever cross over to. I think they might not go to the other side ever. You might need to reload. Right, that's something I want to change as well. Like, if there are no player characters left,
Jack Miners and White Oak Dugwoods.
if there are no player characters left, it should probably fast forward it somehow, or like go back to the lobby thing. I don't know exactly how to do that.
That's good enough. I keep messing up the controls. I should just read. There we go.
Yeah, what else? Yeah, just any ideas for like cool effects you could do, just like stuff that goes with the beats, or something that would make the player feel more powerful, like with the number of power-ups they have. Anything like that I'm interested in.
I don't know.
That's
and the reason why is because like what makes the game good is because it's simple, right? Like that's kind of like the trap of like a lot of arcade games that it's like you can add more, but it's like the return that you get out of adding more features is not that helpful.
Yeah, like I said, that's like the latest change I did was I kept the only power-up I thought was fun, and I just scrapped the other ones, and the game is like much better.
So what power-up do you think is fun and what is not? Like, I mean, I can give you.
So the one I kept is the shield. Because it sort of adds a lot, because you have this sort of you have a defensive mechanic, so the player feels. I mean, I shouldn't tell you what to feel. The intention is that the player doesn't feel as like helpless when they're being sort of fired at. And on top of that, I feel like it's a mechanic. Like if you would play this game a lot, you could probably utilize that. Like get into actual like mind games, and like, is he gonna shield? Is he not gonna shield? And like, oh, I think my opponent is gonna like sort of choose to fire here, so I'll just wait and shield, and then I'll get him. I think it's a mechanic that can get like pretty deep once you learn the game more.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally like those kind of mechanics that.
And the ones I removed were like, there was a shot that just went through walls, and that more or less just felt like cheating. Like,
yeah.
Kind of like the blue shell in Mario Kart, like that sort of thing. And then I had a remote turret, which was a really cool mechanic. Like you can place something on the map, and then you could like fire that simultaneously with your own shot. But it was just really hard to use, and in the middle of the game, you would just like concentrate on that, fuck it up, and then get shot instead. So I found myself just hoping I would get the shield every time I picked up a power-up, until I realized I should just do that one instead.
Yeah, with honestly, like I usually like it when. I know you already have it. Like there's no like different characters with like different speeds and so on. Everyone starts on the same ground. How does the what do I call it? Like I'm picking. What do you call? Like, do you call them pallets? Like, what do you call the orange?
Yeah, I should pick a name for it. I call them like stat boosts. I can call them power-ups because I don't have any other concept that's a power-up.
Okay. So when I'm picking up the power-ups, how does the order of like what gets filled up feels random to me now. No, maybe it's not to you, but
it's 100% random. So when it spawns, it's random. But something I thought of was having different colors for the different stat boosts, so you know what you're gonna pick up.
Yeah.
Like still have it random how it spawns, but when you pick it up, you actually know what it's gonna be. So maybe if you prefer being faster, maybe you'll go for like the speed one instead.
Yep. I would say yes. I mean, that was totally a thing that, like, I would love to be like a player and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for all the speed. Because you keep them between dying too. So maybe like the early strategy is almost like I'm playing MOBA. Oh gosh. I'm almost like I'm playing MOBA and I'm like, okay, I'm just grinding now. I know I'll be powerful later once I actually have all the speed because that's how I play, you know.
Yeah, cool. That's actually how when I play this, that's how I play it. I tend to watch out for other players and just like...
What happened there? Sorry, I should have screenshotted it. I feel like the shot just went through.
Yeah, there's a bug that the AI does that is introduced like this week. So yeah, that's something. That's probably priority number one. Actually, that's an actual like nasty bug.
I mean, honestly, anything for the AI, don't worry about it that much. Because if the goal of the game to be played with people, then that's what they should do, right? Like, don't worry too much. And that's why I'm telling you, like, the AI is just good. It's good enough.
That's cool. That's cool. It's just this one thing is like, it's actually broken. Like,
yeah, that's. I mean, it's fair.
It feels like the physics are off, basically. I didn't know what's causing it, though. Interesting. So another thing for like the different colors. So this is the trade-off that I'm kind of struggling with while I'm making this game. Is I want to have like more flashy things. I want to convey more information. But I feel like as soon as I like add just one more color to the game, that sort of takes away from the aesthetic.
Agree.
So having different colors for these pellets, I think I need to think about it real hard before I...
Yeah, especially since the players have different colors.
Yeah, you don't want to run out of... You want it to still go with the color scheme, and you also don't like want to run out of colors.
How did you pick up your colors, by the way?
Let's see. It was something really silly. I think I like straight up Googled like synthwave something.
Synthwave.
Like covers, or I don't know exactly what it was. It was like something like that, and I think I found like one of the colors. I think I found like the sort of magenta one first, and I went to. Now we're in like a really buggy state. I know what process this. But I just went to some like color wheel site and I looked for like contrast colors. And just on the first try, they turned out to work really well.
Yeah.
Just by sort of chance. So yeah, it definitely started with the magenta. That was like, it's in every single like synthwave, like Kavinsky cover.
Yeah.
Every like
Drive.
game. Yeah, exactly.
Soundtrack.
Every Hotline Miami, everything like that. So I just I stole it. Basically. I stole it and then I used math.
What? Okay, that should have killed me, but fine.
Yeah, so you're actually invincible in the beginning of the game.
Okay.
So the idea is that you can sort of do some positioning in the beginning without having to worry about getting killed. It's actually kind of hard to use the shield against the AI. It's easier when you're playing with... it's easier to sort of... with players, because they have actual like tells and behaviors. You can sort of see what they're going for. They'll be like guarding like one mirror or something. You can kind of call them out on it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go back to it, like an effect of me dying, an effect of me spawning again, something to indicate that I'm shooting, which I know is gonna be tough, but for me, this game is about shooting, right? And I feel like a sound effect with shooting would be really cool. Would be cool. Like, I'm not saying like it would be important as much as it would just be like really cool to have.
Yeah, I think it would have like an effect on gameplay too, where you sort of know more what's going on, like when somebody else is shooting. Especially with the shield mechanic, if you have something distinct to react to, I think that definitely makes a difference. If you're reacting to a sound cue and then you press the shield button, for example.
I see. Oh, okay. Oh gosh.
Thought about having like somehow there would be like an effect on the player character when you shoot to make it super obvious like where a shot is coming from, just to make it sort of easier to parse where somebody's shooting. But again, it might be like effect overload instead.
Why? Can you explain that again? I'm probably wasn't paying attention to that. But why would you need that? I feel like it's already there, right?
Maybe. It's just like the sort of having an easy way of having something to react to when somebody else is shooting. I mean, you have the laser. You can definitely see that. But I think if you have something that's even more distinct, then that might help. I'm sure. A lot of stuff is also maybe me overthinking it because I play this by myself a bunch. Yeah. Like while developing.
How there's a score keeping somewhere, right? No?
Not except for the. It's just the number of lives.
Okay.
So every round is a new.
Okay, okay.
It's just something that I didn't want to focus on. There's something I thought about. Also, having like stats, such a. I think that might be maybe more worth putting in there. Is like stats. I don't know. A lot of games do like. Most cowardly, most hits, most active, blah blah blah. I could collect all of, like, just add some more flavor to the game.
So, is there any reason why, like, as I'm playing, like, strategy-wise, is there any reason why I don't do, like, the Smash Brothers 4 players thing of just, like, waiting until everyone dies and then playing? Other than just maybe collecting dots, I guess? I guess that's kind of what you have to solve that, right?
That's exactly it, actually.
Yeah. And I just died. So let's go for one.
So they at least give you an incentive to not only hide, sort of. And you can definitely play a keep away sort of style. And I feel like that's okay. Because what can happen in this game is that you think you're safe.
Yeah,
but somebody else might be like guarding that path from the other side of the map, so you might find yourself like not being as safe as you sort of thought. So that hasn't really been a problem in playtests that I've seen.
I'm really enjoying this, just so you know. It's actually really fun. And I'm just trying to like get good at it, so when I actually play against people, I want to actually
nice.
Be good.
That's actually something I'm super duper happy with. Like it's pretty fun to play like just when you start, but I feel like you can definitely get good at it. Like when I played it with friends, like either I would win most of the time, or somebody just figured stuff out and would start winning instead.
That's the best feeling when you lose in your own game.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And especially when it's because somebody like figuring that out. Like they outsmarted you, right? The AI is actually really buggy. I think it's only one bug, but it's very prominent.
So as you are working on the AI, because it sounds like you really want to work on the AI more.
It's the only one specific bug that's like.
Oh my gosh! It just got blocked.
Broken.
That was like the perfect Daigo parry from Street Fighter 3.
Yes, that's the that's the fucking main inspiration.
I always want games with more parry system. I was actually gonna recommend that earlier, but then I was like, nah. But yeah, like that was actually really good. I mean, again, like honestly, with the shield, it is such a good mechanic. I mean, I actually really like having just the shield as a mechanic. And doing exactly what that bot just did to me. But what I would do is like this effect here needs some work. It needs to be a little bit maybe faster, so I would know when it's either that it's working or it's either that I have the shield or not. There doesn't need to be like a slow down thing. See now, like I have it like getting smaller. I understand that was an indicator, but
that's a good point. So what it has now is like it gets lower opacity when it's not active, but maybe it should just be like if the shield is outside of your sprite, then it's active.
Yeah,
that's way clearer.
Yep. So make it like make the opacity on it like go like dimmer, and that's fine. I'm fine with that because I know that it's getting bad. But combining that with it getting smaller, like I don't know when it's what. Because as long as I see okay. As long as I see a shield, then I just expect to look.
For sure, that should be a pretty easy fix as well.
Have you played with like team games? Maybe is that a thing ever?
That's in the to-do list, but for now, it's just not my full-time job. So I'm gonna go for just polishing this core as much as I can, basically.
Yeah, and do your day job. I totally understand.
Yeah.
So I stopped working on my game because it's just too depressing. So I totally understand.
Classic. Yeah, scope creep is gonna get you.
Well, and the reason why I think I mentioned it was sometimes you can get like a lot, that you can get a lot of wins with like a lot of small changes. Like I'm working on a volleyball game, and to goof around, I just added like a basketball mode, which was just moving the hitbox for the ground to be on top of the and
that's cool. Yeah.
And then it was like, hey, I just have another mode. So
that's sick.
So like that was like one of the best feelings to just goof around with that. Ooh. Do you like get more mirrors as like the game goes longer, maybe?
They're just random. They're completely random every time. I feel like they're at the pretty good place where there's always enough to sort of play with, but there's never so many that they fill the entire screen. Because I don't know if... I actually don't know if like adding more mirrors would make the game go faster necessarily. Because they could just redirect a lot of shots like into walls and stuff.
Could just be more frustrating.
Yeah, feel more random maybe. Yeah, I think I might just So you said you actually started looking at the GUI a little bit as you play more?
Yes and no. I mean, honestly, I'm just getting stuff because I know I'm getting, and and mostly I'm trying to not get shot at the same time. I don't really, honestly, no, I don't really look at the GUI much because, again, even that you also said that it's random, so that gives me more of a reason to not really worry about what I have. As long as if I have a lot, then I'm good. Now, every once in a while, like I would look to just see if I'm maxed out and just not bother chasing.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe that's a good point. Like, since nobody, like including me, is really looking at the GUI that much, I should probably just straight up remove it, and that'll sort of force me to find other solutions, like indicate stuff on the player.
It mostly helps me when it comes to just like at the beginning when I start. Maybe that's where you show like stats, like number of kills, and I don't know. That doesn't have anything to do with anything, but like right now I know where I'm starting. I know I'm player 4. I know you're not gonna move me anywhere, and that's probably the last time I'm checking anything there.
But maybe I don't know if do you feel like you need the GUI to know that? Because just looking at your player sprite.
Yeah, I guess now I do. I mean, you're not spawning me in a different spot anyway, like either. But if I'm playing an arcade game and there's a position for player 4, then I know which one I will be, right? Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's actually really true. Yeah, that's actually a reason. Oh, actually, what I was thinking with if I have an actual cabinet is just have it be color coded. The green joystick controls the green player.
That's actually good point.
So that's another thing we don't need the GUI for.
I just forced myself to check the points, just the power up, just to see if I actually maxed out or not. Now I know I'm maxed out, so I'm not gonna look again.
Nice. All right. You can also see it by just you don't get that little text that says speed up or reload up when you're maxed out.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw those, but like, what happens when you are maxed out? Does it say anything?
You just don't get the text.
Okay, then.
Yeah, but there are some really like interesting problems to solve. I feel like a lot of them having to do. Oh, you got the game breaking bug again. That happens way more often than I thought it would. So what happens is that the like join thing, it spawns a bit too early, and at the end of the game, somebody shoots in a way that makes the laser hit it just as the new lobby is starting, and that like gets everything desynced. I thought it would be like an extreme edge case, but it's happened like 2 or 3 times already.
Just so you know, we are the last active channel playing the game, so that's you should get a reward for most of the things.
That's I gotta say, it's thanks to you though. You playing.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm playing it so much. I'm definitely finding some enjoyment in it. I'm definitely not bored of it already. It's definitely like the concept is there, and I can totally like see. Of course, with more time, you can build on top of this. Dude, again, when I die, I just want to see something. Make me like explode, or just make the box break or something. That's the only thing. But I was gonna say, if you're trying to find like more polishing things to do, which I know that's one of the worst things to hear. If you want to do like a nice. It was the guy who died too. Like avatars, I know it's an odd. Ooh, I'm dead. Okay. What games did avatars? Like some of the shmups would do them, where like they would have like a face or like someone, which I know probably doesn't go with what you want, but you can still have like some like vector like sprite of someone like getting like acting like shocked or something when they get shot or something like that. Think of it as like maybe like original Doom style kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe it will be like these are actually like ships, and you get like the cockpit view or something. It's like they have drivers.
If you're thinking like anime, actually, what is the game? Oh my gosh, I have it in my Steam. But if you're thinking like anime style, it's almost like you are in your ship, and I don't know. I think maybe not FTL. What is the other game? I don't know. There's a lot of like examples of things like that, and the reason why is like you're just adding more personality at that point, and of course you're adding more work time to yourself. So
for sure, you gotta learn how to create sprites and shit. There's a reason why the graphics are like they are. I'm a
honestly, you're working with the best with what you have, and you're not trying to like make it anything else. And I think you're actually accomplishing like a really good look into it. Like my first impression of this was like, this looks like very crisp, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, did I die? I did die. Alright, this is the last round here. The shield is my favorite mechanic now, actually. Now that I'm actually getting good at the game, I'm just trying to kill him with my shield, just so you know.
Sorry, I missed that.
You're fine. No, I said like the shield is becoming one of my favorite mechanics, and I'm trying to see if I can kill him with my shield.
Sick.
So like the bullets, the bullet goes faster. The bullet goes faster when you.
When you shield?
Yeah, right?
Yes. Yeah, so what you can actually do, so if you want to try something actually,